So this happened around, I want to say 2016. And this was around the time that coronavirus and the elections was happening and or was appearing to happen. And what I had seen was that the governmental officials had announced to make the law enforcement wear cameras on their body to always see who is creating harm and or what accidents have occurred, to document each and every incident that was occurring around the supposed country called United States of America, which is 51 states, and 51 states is the land separations of culture and many differences in terms of the well-known United States of America, which has differentialities to the supposed way of life and living. For example, the East Coast might be a faster way of living compared to the West Coast and everywhere else. So when we're talking about what incident occurred, it was the incident of what seemed to me as to be some sort of beyond virus and or creator disaster. I had called my grandfather around nighttime, and I had noticed that he was about to cook a meal. And in my phone, I had seen that there was spiritually supposed either powers or some sort of connections to him to miss him, send messages, pray, and or whatever else. And these supposed men were supposedly the known friends and family from over time, such as human species mostly, as the obvious sign is that the other ones will affect him more, as in the obvious donating blood, things like that, yeah? It's not suitable to have other species inside other species regardless of power or not. So the effects of that is going to create harm, illness, and much more. So what I noticed was supposedly Magic, Human Element, Adam, Chad Burgess, and a few other guys were all with their powers and our abilities to somehow connect to him and pray and talk with him often. So the messages that they pray often get to him perhaps faster than others around the human species and way of life for the human species. Which is obvious, and the very known reason is because it's symbolic to flying first class and getting everything that you are deserved and are well deserving of. So I noticed that we were heading towards fourth dimension, real D, and or Foreverland, Entity Access, and whatever else. Since the time frame that we had spoken was seemingly that time. The matter to me and everyone else connected to me in my family and or group is that our concern was that heading towards fourth dimension, these supposed scandos, powers, energies, and or whatever could be creating some sort of harm to him, as in terms of creating all those to become real inside and create some sort of control or forced will. That's why it was concerning to us. So we automatically scream and we wanted to yank all those out and auto to a bunch of people. So what he heard and what other people's heard was supposedly kill and or murder him, but they didn't know who, yeah. So it wasn't that. It was the obvious different species, different language, not understanding what's really going on in terms of emergency and 2-second conversation. So that is why, yeah, other people wanted to something, yeah, in terms of like suing, threatening, harming others, yeah, in real, yeah. So that is why after that, supposedly the whole place had some sort of like a will issue and or someone controlling, taking over someone's body. And it's not only me, I notice it like all over my surroundings. So when we're talking about like, is it the coronavirus? Is it this? Is it that? We don't know yet. But for us to really understand what's really going on yet, is that sometimes, these are the emergency concerns and the emergency contacts that will know. And throughout the supposed universe, if we're looking at this exact time was when the police and the law enforcement of the United States had decided to wear cameras and things like that, the powers and abilities of all these cameras and the time frame and everything. People, maybe if they do remember, around 2016, had obviously seen other people inside other people by using a phone and or camera. And it's obviously been going on for a very long time. If we look back to the times where there was some sort of, they claim witchcraft and bad things like that occurred when they take photos and they come out. And they claim it was seance, things like that. But it's not a seance, It's obviously other people's energy powers and or parts of them and or feelings or something, So it's an obvious indication that the reason why they have it, one, maybe because they missed these entities. Two, maybe because these entities missed them. Four, maybe because the long distance and it's similar to some sort of mechanism device to bring them to meet and or see one another. Which is normal of the supposed way of life and way of living. But when we're talking about like the time frame and the supposed like what is necessarily needed of a bunch of people, it is actually what is requested, So we don't know how many times we live this type of story of some sort of seance, voodoo, witchcraft, bad incidents going on. But the obvious sign is something is going on. And what is going on is obviously that people think other people are doing something bad, And people think bad of others because there were and there is incidents that there is bad things that go on. And the paranoia and the differentiations of language and the misunderstandings, creates harm, because there is some sort of judgment or something going on, And the reason why that it was that big of a deal was because he was perhaps already in 4D. And these supposed energies of theirs perhaps already judged me, Because my given father wouldn't judge me of something like that. He would turn around or be on the phone and say, "What do you mean?" Or something like that, And when he said nothing, and appeared sad, believing in what they said, or was sad that they thought that of me, was perhaps the time that the seriousness of this masculated. As my senses and everything is something big and tragic, not tragic, something big was going on and was going to happen, and so the warnings, the concerns, the security, the alarmings was really noticeably being shown. And for me to contact to wonder if it is the end, then I really do wish that everyone's with their divine partner for the last wish, the last life, and everything else. So with my powers and capabilities, I decided to aim up to ask for my grandfather's wife to see her picture at least and or something. And the sign was that as I watched the television on YouTube, I had found a woman look like she was somewhere seemingly appear looking like Texas, but it could have been somewhere else, And the element she looked like trust bond element, and she was with two elder ladies. And I didn't get to save the photo and our commercial because I don't think it was really a commercial and our photo, but it was an image of her and two other supposed ladies on both sides, and that just sums it up.